Joining us in the studio to talk more on enhancing the educational sector in the nation is Engineer Tepase Kundam. He is an educational consultant. Thanks for joining us on Panorama.
Thank you very much for having me.
Okay. Talking about enhancing the educational development in the country, we all know that in different countries, the educational standard varies. But UNESCO has come up with a standard that is supposed to be used as a measure worldwide. So looking at the UNESCO standards, do you think as a nation we have met up with that standard?
Yes, to a very large extent. Let me just talk about two things here. First and foremost, the standard summarized as SDGs 4. This is actually a plan to ensure that by 2030, at least 95% of catchment areas have education, useful education. And I think to some extent, looking at what they have done, we have measured very well in this SDG 4. Nigeria's Fast Track, a program created by Nigeria to ensure SDG 4 works, has won the Confucius Award of UNESCO 2024. And that is actually landmark because it means Nigeria has worked closely to the ideals of UNESCO.
Okay.
Secondly, there is this TVET that they created, Technology, Vocational and Education Training, which Nigeria is also following very well with. I think Nigeria has gone well with UNESCO.
Okay. So from what you just mentioned now, it looks like we are actually getting there. But I still want you to analyze the focus, the central message of the UNESCO standard, which projects that every learner goes to school to learn to know, to learn to do, to learn to live together, to learn to know, that's to achieve, to acquire knowledge, to learn to do is to achieve, acquire skills. Do you think as a nation we have achieved that, looking at our educational system?
Well, yes, like I said, we're getting on well along these lines. Of course, there are a few things that need to be done. One of the things UNESCO has stipulated, which I think Nigeria needs to work more towards, is their funding. Because whatever happens, if there is not enough funding, what we have said they are saying we should do and what we have done so far would leave a very huge gap. Funding, as far as UNESCO is concerned, is also very crucial. You know, they have indicated that budgets should be about 15 to 20% education. And remember, 2025 budget of Nigeria was just about 3%, about 4 trillion out of about 48 trillion. So to this extent, I would like to say, yes, we have done much, but some of these impediments that needed to be addressed need to be as quickly as we can. Nigeria has a very wide area to cover in this respect. We are getting on, like I said before, but I want to say there is a little more push to be made to this extent.
Okay, so what do you think, concerning the budget? What can be done to, it's obvious now that it's the responsibility of the government to see that the appropriate budget is being put in place to develop the educational sector in Nigeria. So aside those budgets, what other impediments do we, do that are holding back the development of our educational sector?
One of those is teacher quality. And it's one of the things that UNESCO also is particular about, teacher quality. If you are going to have desired education and there is no motivated, properly trained teacher, you can have it. We have a very funny thing in this country. They say teachers' reward is in heaven. I don't know how they got that from, because the honor of heaven, Jesus Christ was speaking in Matthew chapter 19, verse 24. So he said, if you sacrifice this much, you get in this life, and in the life to come, eternal life. We have allocated the reward of teachers in heaven, and they are treated here in such a way that delivery is becoming a challenge. I want to think that one of the impediments we have to solve is teacher quality, teacher motivation. One other thing that is there is, we need a safe environment. Some places, people are no longer traversing. Children can go to school. Security is critical for education. Also, we cannot underestimate or overemphasize the value of data acquisition and usage in our education system. These three need to be done.
Okay.
Yes.
So now that you have mentioned some of these challenges, I think top on the list is the teachers' quality. Do you think intervention by UBEC in collaboration with state government has improved the quality of education in the country? Because I think that is one of their major areas that they look at, the quality of the teachers.
Yes, UBEC has done a lot in teacher training and trainer programs. They have done a lot in that respect. And more of it needs to be done, because I think somewhere along the line, for Benue State in particular, there was a wrong submission of teacher-student ratio. So we don't even have enough teachers. You go to some schools, it's only one teacher that is there, and that's the principal. It's there for everything. Now, we need more teachers, so we need more training of good teachers to be sent into the field, and there should be an equitable distribution of deployment of teachers, because
to all the schools.
Yes, okay. To all the schools. And
let me just, you said an equitable distribution of teachers to all the schools.
Yes.
So what do you think is the problem concerning some teachers not wanting to go to certain local government areas to teach?
That is where I think government will need to look into, because the UBEC government intervention has to some extent covered. So if encouragement is there, motivation is there, I think they'll go.
Okay, thank you very much, Engineer Tepase Kundam, for joining us on Panorama today.
Thank you.